To sit back and be like, nobody noticing me. I'm just this smooth guy running off with the money.
Current location 01010 Matrix Boulevard, somewhere in the American Society. Manifesto. Head west on Memory Lane toward North Babylon Trail for 0.3 miles. Turn left onto less traveled road in 700 feet. Turn right onto BLK Privilege Boulevard in 0.1 miles.
I try to tell them to follow the big dip, enticing by the ice on the side of a big ship. And now you get the true definition of big drip. The marathon.
Your destination will be on the right.
You must have thought that we was coming the same. I let your mama see the one who the blame.
If I tell a story,
Gods and goddesses.
if I tell a story, if I tell a story that I never told a soul, who the thought is like a try to take it to a toll? I'm not trying to take control. Make everybody my everything and they hold. That's why I gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that money machine.
Scoop a pocket pass to stop and pop, no popping, lock it down. Smoke a lot of gas and puff and pass with my puffing companion. They vanilla wafer flavor, we discussing Southern Spanish. Something lonely at these moments I can manage. They told me at the top ain't no difference of being banished. Similarities to a drop when it disappear and it vanish. He picture me at no Oscar recipient of a Grammy. Grammatically we improper, be hard to see what I'm saying. Be hard to see what I'm saying. I know, I done been down this road, that's for sure. Gotta be down to ride and go. In this show, people ain't down, lay down before. I can't go, for none of that, I just need time alone.
If I tell a story that I never told a soul, who the thought is like a try to take it to a toll? I'm on me, take control. Make everybody my everything and they hold. That's why I gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that money machine.
I be getting quiet, Franks, and quite frankly, don't do no talking. Obnoxious, get you to caution. Be harder than summer walking while open urban hibachi. A soda bowl of them talking. You better get them some milk in the words of the urban guys. I made a left at a red and I ended up on the seat. Them people left me for dead and I ended up on my feet. Them peoples you probably dead, how they ended up on your sheet. I told him show me a plan and he handed me a machine.
I get this shit poppin'. We ain't shopping at Gucci stores, they be hip hopping. Can't be running and telling stores, we be zip locking. Picking bags up off of the floor, talking hip tossing. All these clarities in my storms. If I tell a story that I never told a soul, who the thought is like a try to take it to a toll? I'm on me, take control. Make everybody my everything and they hold. That's why I gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that my machine go. Gotta make that money machine.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Black Wall Street Bets Taco Tuesday, where we talk about currency only. Today we are here with Empire Professor Ras Natty. What is going on, brethren?
In the building for another Taco Tuesday, man. Let's get into this show. Start making some money. Oh, you not ready for me?
Loading. 136, I'm ready for you.
I just seen your whole screen green too. That's why I jumped in so early.
Yeah, I had to go back into my SoundCloud.
Fleck.
Yep.
Bad move.
Do you mind if I close this?
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the show tonight. Let me start sending these links out, man. Money.
Alrighty, Bitcoin's currently at $40,000, up 1%. Ethereum's at $3,000. Solana is at $103. Polkadot at $17. You got Vet at 5 cents. Who else is on here? Near is at $16. Luna is at $85. Kasamo is at $163. Let's zoom back out. We got BNB currently at 400. They want me to accept their dusty cookies. At $417. You have Cardano, also as 88 at 95 cents. Ooh, it has left the dollar region. XRP's at 71 cents. Tezos, where is Tezos? Tezos is currently at a whopping $3.09. Who else do we have on this?
What you mean a whopping? What that mean?
It's just a figure of speech.
Man, what does that figure of speech mean? Does it mean that it's good or bad? I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's just at a whopping $3.
I don't know what that means. Like, what does whopping entail? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I just used it. Dogecoin is at 14 cents. Litecoin is at $105. Stick to my reset unmuted. USDT. What is this? 0.04 increase. Okay. We have Chainlink at $14, Uniswap at $9, Mana's at $2, Apes at $12, Phantom is at $1.16, Sand is at $2, Theta's at $3. Let's see, Sushi Swap is at $3. Ooh, do you have any other guys in mind? GRT is at 37 cents.
Can you, yeah, that's what it is.
Crow is at 41 cents. Matic is at $1.41. You have Shibu Inu at, that luxurious number, but it's up 20% on the day. And yeah, that is the conclusion of market recon for the crypto sector. We will be moving now on to the stock crypto recon. So let's get over there. Okay, so the stock market was moderately red today. You have Microsoft down 1%, Google's down 0.86%, Facebook is down 1%, Nvidia is down 1%, Netflix is down 1%, AMD is down 2%, Berkshire is down 0.65%, Bank of America down 1%, Visa down 1%, Wells Fargo is down 1% as well. JP Morgan's down 1%. Yeah, so the finance sector had a red day. Technology services had a red day. We have Electronic technology, Apple's up 1%, so they did good. Again, as I stated, NVIDIA and AMD were down today in the red. Lockheed Martin was up 0.71%. We have Intel down 0.15%. Who else is on here? Johnson & Johnson in health technology was up 0.03% on the day. Again, a moderately red day for them. Pfizer's down 1.52%. Tesla's up 1.13% in the consumer durables. What else is going on? Activision Blizzard is up 0.08%. Ford is up 0.52%. EA Sports was up 0.81%. General Motors was down 0.72%. What else do we have going on? Starbucks was down 1%. McDonald's down 0.51%. Disney's up 15%. I wonder how they're going to do, though. I want to see their charts because there are people trying to cancel them, but I guess a lot of them are owned. Well, majority of the stocks are owned by institutional. So they were saying that there was no real movement as far as the outcry for heterosexual people and their disdain for them trying to push the whole "don't say sex" bill on the children in Florida. But yeah, so ExxonMobil is up 2%, Chevron's up 2%. So the energy minerals had a green day. Health services was down. What is United Health Services was down 0.69%. Commercial services, MasterCard was down 0.45%. PayPal's down 1.42%. Transportation, you had UPS down 1.55%. Do you have any other stocks you're looking into, Professor Ras Natty? Okay. Home Depot down 0.14%. Walmart down 0.69%. Amazon down 0.22%. Costco down 0.57%. Target was up 0.89%. CVS was up 0.18%. And Dollar Tree's up 1.02%. Dollar General's up 1.27%. So retail trade had a mixed day of green and red. Yeah, I would say that is a conclusion of the market recon for the stock sector. Professor Ras Natty, any extra? Jules, you want to add?
Today was that time niggas get on stage and they don't want to be on stage type of nigga I am.
Okay, so do you want to move into the next article? Is this it? Hello?
But yeah, today was a mixed day in the stock market. That's what I'm saying. Every time I talk, somebody keep on telling me about some more shit and then asking me questions. Right. So if my first point is made, that means that my second point is made. That means my third point is made. Right. So if I say that I don't want to talk and somebody say, "Yo, cool, we don't need you to talk. Don't ask me no questions." Everybody, just throwing that out there for everybody in the back that may not understand me. A lot of people don't understand me, and I tell people this all the time. You have to get around people that you like. Don't follow people that you don't agree with. Don't try to trade like people that's not like you. Right? I don't listen to a lot of people that's not like me because they can't help me. Right? When people say things and do things that I don't agree with, I don't care. I don't agree with them and I stay away from them. Right? I just want y'all to really, really understand that same concept with this stock situation where a lot of time y'all will see me taking a step back because when I present situations to people, their answers don't make sense to me. So then I don't even want to talk to them and deal with them at all. So you may see me doing that a lot. I'm like, damn, there's nothing ever going on with me. I'm just analyzing the situation. The same way I invest in the stocks. Sometimes you may be like, damn, bro, you're not buying it. I am buying something right now. I'm just analyzing the scene and I'm just seeing what's being put forward, right? So when I present something in every show I come in, right, and I always say, yo, we're gonna start like this from the top, so it goes from the top to the bottom, or I say, yo, we're doing it like this, or I say, yo, we're doing it like this. It's the same thing when it comes to stocks, right? So if I tell y'all a certain thing, or I want to go a certain direction, this is what it is, which is why I keep on stressing the fact that don't get around people that you don't respect, right? If you don't really respect that person, then you won't know how to treat someone because you don't respect them. So it's the same thing with investments. If you're investing in the things that you don't truly respect, you don't understand what's going on, and most of the time you don't care, right? Because you're not willing to take the pain, you're not willing to take the downs, things like that. I heard somebody say something slick earlier. They was like, CPI was high, inflation, blah blah blah. I guess Bitcoin isn't such a good hedge because it's down. I'm like, what you think is a stupid ass quote you made, but hey, okay, it's down, so it's not a good hedge. Cool, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people that say things. I just wholeheartedly disagree with them, and what I do is I stay away from them unless I'm using them as a pawn. So when people say things, I ask them what they mean, because that's really important to me. I don't want to be on the wrong team. You don't want to be on somebody with a narrative that doesn't seem to fit your narrative. If you never use that word and somebody use a new word, you say, yo, what's that word? Where did you get that word from? If they choose not to answer, they choose to think that they bigger than you or they don't respect you, then, hey, you go on about the business. The same thing as with these trades, like Elon and the Twitter situation, right? A lot of people kind of bought Twitter. They said, yo, Twitter was up damn near 30% on the news that Elon is the major shareholder over there. So people are like, man, goddamn, Elon over there, no shit gonna change. So come Monday, we figured out that Elon declined the offer to be on the board. So he's like, man, what's going on? Maybe some people that bought, maybe you remember, you're not sure, but there was more news that came out like, yo, maybe he's trying to do a hostile takeover and da 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 da. So right, I feel like that gave a little bit more confidence to the people. They were like, hey, shit, for real? That even make more sense. Before I was like, maybe he might do something on the board. But now if you telling me he planning on doing a hostile takeover damn near, that it looked a little more interesting to me. So right. So Twitter looked interesting to people. And then came today, market probably started like 46. 47, shot down to 45, shot up to 47.8 damn near, if not 48, right? So that was super early. And then once everything started to settle in, where it was like, yo, the CPI, you know, this whole day was about CPI. So yesterday, when BTC had dropped to 39 and then we ran back up to like 48, everybody was like, oh, CPI numbers already priced in. You know, people always say that, and people that don't really know how to trade or just whatever the situation is, they always say, yo, this is priced in, this is priced in, that's priced in. I don't know what priced in mean, right? Priced in don't really mean anything in stocks because there's human emotions day to day. The same way that you could have a system that you do every day. Say you've been podcasting, doing anything for years or a year or 3 years or whatever, and you got a system, and every day it comes in, there's a system change, and you're like, man, that's not how systems work. That's not how efficiency works, which is why companies that's efficient, what they do is they do the same process at a greater speed. That's what changes a company. The company don't change their bottom line. They don't change their origins. They don't change their thoughts. They don't change the way they operate, right? There might be little tweaks to underlying things where it's like, okay, that right, it makes sense, but we need to tweak it over here because, right, there's tweaks that's made, but companies that started have a foundation. Great companies have a foundation, and they just continuously build on that. Every way that they judge everything is judged based on the foundation. foundation rests upon truth. The truth is the foundation. Every time that there's a lie or something out of order, then we go back to the foundation, and that gives us a groundation, and we go like, okay, cool, right? We're still on the path, a little wayward at times, right? All these words mean something. Wayward mean wayward, like you're not focused. If a nigga's wayward, he just back and forth like a piece of inflatable tube, man, right? So everything I say means something. So if y'all ever get some time, ask me, goddamn, because I be trying to impart things on people to kind of change their mindset. Because I think that I do a good job. I try to do a good job of always imparting wisdom on people as far as, yo, you have to change that mindset. You have to stop saying stuff that you don't know what it means. Stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing these things. All these things bleed through in other parts of your life, right? So people that sucks at trading or impatient in trading, they're impatient in relationship, they're impatient here, they're impatient in whatever else it may be. People that's motherfucking hell bent on thinking that they're right, they're hell bent on thinking they're right in stocks and that and whatever the situation is, right? There is a persona, there's a personality for all of this stuff, right? There's a personality for all this stuff, and I keep on stressing that we may not never understand where we stand with certain people, but what I do understand is that people don't respect you based on what they fucking do, and they may act like everything is cool with you, and this is why, and this is my problem with humans and divorce. Divorce is like leaving a stock. It's all the same shit. Nothing means more, nothing means less. It's all bullshit. It's all temporary things, right? Temporary bullshit. So it really doesn't mean anything. The Most High said, if you find a wife, you find gold. The same way I look at stocks, right? If you find a good stock, you find a good thing. What does that mean? If you find a good stock, you find a good thing. Most stocks are dog shit, just like most people are dog shit. If you find a good one, that's the rarity in it. You can find thousands of people. I'm telling you, every day there is thousands of people that's dog shit. The Most High said to find a special person is to find gold. Is to find something more precious than gold or whatever, rubies and these different precious stones. So now he say this and he said, damn, what do you mean by that? The only thing he can mean is that this isn't something that I'm supposed to be just finding, right? So I just really want that to be laid up on y'all, right? So when you go through, you might grab a couple stocks.
14 days and 14 nights. All hell, all hell. All heaven, all heaven. I ain't got no change of spell. I swipe the card and 7-Eleven. 2 times 7, 14 carats, flooded eye. 14 days and 14 nights out the public eye. It's like I woke up from a dream in the haunted house. And now I'm back up in the lab getting funkified. Cause I get busy with a missy and with seat supplies. Church in the jet, no suit and ties. I take pages from the Bible and read through the lines. I got Trey up in this thing and he provide the vibes. Nigga, assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. They asking for the tape, say the tape's too long. 707, 14 carats, 14 sessions. Counting all these blessings. I'm trying to get even. Nickname should be Evan. 19 don't scare me, cause I've been the freshest. Just talk to Plano, say they got some new weapons. Mention my situation, they gon' drop the charge in a section. I think God could be a goddess. That's my perception. Speaking over the water, let the ocean tell it. Hold the flow is crystallized. Sit back and I visualize. Smoking on that kryptonite, an object unidentified. 14 carats, flooded eye. 14 days and 14 nights out the public eye. It's like I woke up from a dream in the haunted house. And now I'm back up in the lab, getting funkified. Yeah. 2 times 7, 14 carats, 14 sessions. Counting all these blessings. 707. 14 carats, 14 sessions.
Drake go hard. 14K Drake.
My bad, y'all. Let me see if I can hear myself. Yeah, man, I don't know why my shit was down. My goddamn volume in my headsets is down a little bit, but my bad, y'all. Should be back. Let me go double check my audio to make sure everything is good because this is a science project. I'm not really on the science project game. I'm not really on the science project. I'm gonna say Adidas. Adidas trying some new shit. It said Adidas releases Waffle House shoe collab. That's a syrupy sweet tribute to Tour 360 2022 golf styles. The hell is this? What the hell is this about? Amazon trying to is Adidas trying to step into the my bad, y'all. I'm on the wrong thing. You can get a little confused sometimes being on this channel. But it says that the Waffle House latest menu item is utterly breakfast worthy, courtesy of Adidas. The German sportswear brand and Georgia-based breakfast chain have joined forces on a tasty take on Adidas Tour 360 22 golf shoes. The Tour 360 22 times Waffle House pair features off-white uppers with grid embossments inspired by Waffle House. The lace-up style is a what it is? It's man, my bad, y'all. I got this little John on the screen. All right, the lace-up style is complete with Adidas 3 stripes in a deep tan hue, matching their lining. Similarly to the fully cooked waffles, supporting the pair are white foam outsoles finished with glossy, transparent brown rubbery with rubber spike more traction soles in a ode to the maple syrup. So ode to maple syrup right here. But these are the shoes. This will be some golfy type of shoes on. All right, completing the pair at Waffle's House iconic yellow and black logos printed on each heel counter. Are these shoes edible? Why do they got his shoes on his screen? Gotta see if these shoes are edible, folks. My bad. We love this time of year because more than anything else, it's an unofficial start to the golf season for everyone, said Masoon Denson, global footwear director for Adidas Golf. In a statement, Waffle House is such a well-known restaurant in Georgia and throughout the U.S. We knew it would be fun to partner with their team on a design that brings up a piece of famous restaurant to everyone, all in our flagship silhouette. So people out there watching, let me go do this shit real quick. Got some people out here watching. No, that's not them. 1 second, let me get this Adidas ticker. ADD. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to make sure this is the right shit, bro. Let me see. My bad for this down moment. Like I said, this is like I tell everybody, bro. Everything that I do. Right? Even if you see people helping around, just write it off as people being around, right? Because when it comes to actually getting shit done, as far as for me, for my business, for my family, I'm the only one that does anything. Everybody else, though, could do what they want, because you got to understand that life is life, and this happens most of the time, right? Which is why I say I need to get a team of dedicated people, right? I need to get all these people away from me that don't have nothing to offer me. Because I have to do everything by myself, right? So right now, even though I'm running the cast, I'm also looking at my trade. So that's the only reason why it's taking me a little bit longer. But it is. It's 30 minutes in. I'm sorry. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna run through a couple of these articles really fast, and then I will be able to actually focus. Yeah, like I said, it's hard to even see the articles and shit over there also, but This is what I'm trying to tell you. And I tell you about people about y'all don't have to tell me anything, bro. You know, I always try to make it very clear that everybody that has their own thing to say can do their own thing. See why I always try to keep my whole area to myself. Because I'm not here to politic and go back and forth with motherfuckers like I give a fuck. Right? Y'all have to really understand that about me, bro. I'm here to trade and make money. Everybody else, I don't know what the fuck they're here for. I just think they're here to fuck with me. Right? So with that being said, I don't care what nobody has going on in their life, bro. I got my own life, bro. I got my own shit to worry about, families. So I'm just gonna be completely honest with y'all ass, bro. Man. But yeah, this John happens to me all the time. So y'all be like, man, why T gotta do that? I explained to y'all, nigga, this is me, Dolo, solo, like always. If you hear a voice, it's mine, nigga. It's Dolo solo, like always, bro. This is from Variety. All right, I'm about to jump into this situation. Like I said, bro, it's always the same situation, right? Just trying to, eventually just permanently remove some people from your from your life. You don't have to worry about that, bro. The Most High is a great remover of people. Just stay the course, right? Keep presenting yourself, and there's gonna be people looking out for you. And then when you see those people looking out for you, those are the people that you bless. And then when you have other people around you, you don't give a fuck about them. You don't care if they die. You don't care about none of that stuff because that's not gonna change your outlook on life. Because if you died, they wouldn't give a fuck either. So don't worry about them, right? Stranger Things and Enola Holmes, actor. Millie Bobby Brown appeared on the Guilty Feminist podcast this week. All right, we all know Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. This is the young lady that what was her name? 11 or some shit. Hold on, what? She was just 12. What the flag? She was 12 when that John came out. She's 18 now. When the fuck did Stranger Things come out? It's fast ass growth. Yeah, it came out in 2016. Ah, fuck. 2016. It's 6 years later. Man. The time flies, which is why I always say the greatest time to invest, nigga, is really like 10 years ago. But this technically 6. 6 and 6 is 12. Since she was already at 12. And she did it at 16. That's interesting. I'm gonna come back to you, Millie Bobby Brown. This is why we all here today, man. So let's get into this. So say inflation hits. Do I have my wireless one? No, I don't have no wireless, bro. Inflation hits fastest pace since 1981 at 8.5% through March. What's interesting is the actual report that came out. Let me run the report down really fast. Like I said, y'all see me jumping back and forth through shit. Let me run down the report though. Man, where the fuck is my... See, this is my fault. I'm supposed to have all this stuff pulled up so you can see it. Like I said, it's always mid-show. That's why I'd rather do everything by myself. Because I'm the only one that I know won't tell on me. A little more stress in my face from my first ID. I ain't worrying about a bitch that ain't worrying about me. I guess the head man for self. I learned that the harder way. I know niggas doing less time for murder. Elroy told me just grind. I'm working. The consumer, well, I keep on saying CPI, right? This is Consumer Price Index, is a measure that examines the weighted averages of prices of a basket of consumer goods and services, right? Whenever you hear index, that's what it usually represents. So when you hear like S&P, that's the index, right? It's a basket of goods. It's a bunch of indexes now, but now they got the Van Eck, they got SPY, right? They got all these different indexes where it's like a basket of stocks, right? And me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of indexes because the growth, and I just look at it as, yo, if it's the weighted average, you can go inside the basket, that the same basket they got, and see what they betting on big, right? But the problem with that is, say you invest in one of those single stocks they betting on big. If that bird take a dip, there's no other stocks in there to be able to average that out. So you take a bigger dip. But the same way you take a bigger dip, you also receive bigger rewards. That's the good and bad of the different indexes, right? Well, indexes versus single stocks, right? I'm a giant single stock investor because, like I said, there's multiple ways to do it. If you're an amateur, right? If you knew, depends on the amount of hours you got in. Maybe you don't even know single stocks like that. Maybe you may have heard of some companies, and I hear a lot of people saying, "Yo, just buy what you know." You feel me? Right? Buy what you know to an extent. Buy what you know. But like I feel like that only works based on price. Right? I just feel like that's based on price. Because if you say, yo, I'm always driving goddamn Ferraris. I love Ferraris. That's my dream car. I just want to buy a Ferrari because I always see people talking about it. It seems like it's super luxury. You buy it. depending on when you buy it, it ain't really do no work. You actually lost being in it for damn near 5 years now. You actually lost for being in something damn near 5 years now. Right? I'll have to go check the exact numbers, bro. But I'm just telling you, when I hear people with that knowledge of buy what you like and buy what you may like may be good on the ground floor, but based on the price, it's overpriced. It's overvalued in the market. It's overvalued in the market. So you may go to the store every day and you say, yo, I know these bread gonna be popping. Yeah. What's your return on that stock? Is that has that company become so ubiquitous that the numbers that you're gauging on it and the numbers that may be gauged on it already are already fully priced in? Everything is already set in stone. There may be a little bit of growth to the upside, a little bit of pullback to the downside, but nothing major, right? Is it one of those things? Right. And that's what I tell you. That's why it gets super interesting, where you can't just tell somebody invest in what you like. Right. Some people may like things just based on seeing things on TV. And like I said, a lot of those things could work out depending on the level of the company on the market. So has the market already recognized that value? Has the market overpriced that value? Is this price based on some type of news, and are you getting at the top when you could just kind of wait? Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out as far as with all these different things. And that's why I was saying with individual stocks, it's a little more risky, especially if people are just telling you to buy what you like or buy what you see a lot. Because based on price, that's not an efficient way to continuously invest. Based on price, that's not a way to continuously invest. Now, if the company you like may not be that big, right? Or that's what I'm saying, like price is so important because you have to see upside also. And it's like, okay, well, has there ever been any good companies, right, that's been performing well and has been around, but stock price don't resemble it? Okay. See, and I guess that's where it's a small line. Well, it's like, is it a good company or is it just publicized? Because there is good companies that maybe a lot of people haven't heard of, but you're like, yo, they're going to be around. Yeah, they're going to have this contract. They got this much money in the bank. They doing this. They got money. They're going to be around. Right, that's what I'm saying. Is it one of those things? And which comes back to why investing into a single stock is so much more. It's like challenging, right? It's like a challenge because if you just want to get exposure, people always say that, yo, you want to get exposure to the real estate market, go grab you a REIT, right? You kind of already invested into the real estate market in a sense. You ain't got no property, but yeah, you got a little exposure, right? You can kind of see what the real estate market looking like based on the exposure. But there is things where they say right now it's so expensive to build houses, but stuff like DR Horton and them bros, they not running, they not up crazy, they not doing no work. These are leading companies in this home building site, in this home building atmosphere of this whole thing. They're not doing that good. Let me see how they did today based on some CPI numbers. I'm telling you, you start seeing it and you'll be like, oh, it really don't mean that much. It really don't mean that much, bro. A lot of times you see these things, it might mean something in a small scale. And I'm telling you, it's about the balance, bro. It's about the balance because used car was down 3.5%. Used cars were down 3.5%, but everything else was up. I'm trying to find my goddamn man. You saying I didn't even screenshot it? Man, I really had a lot of faith in it. Let me see if I can find it over here really fast. My bad, y'all. All right, let me just put this on the screen. I was trying to thug it out, bro, but like I said, I can't see this shit really. Not perfect. Right. So that's what I'm explaining to y'all right now. I said 17%. See, these are different numbers than I seen earlier. So maybe it was somebody estimate, but nevertheless, just look at these shits. And even though used car prices down 3.8% and was down I think 3.5 or so previously, like a day before, a month before, whatever the situation was. Over the year, we still up. For the year, we still up. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Shit might seem like something, bro. Nothing is nothing, which is why earlier in the cast I was asking the Empress, what is whopping? Because if you say $3 whopping, like, does that mean that damn they got whopped? They fell off? Because this is a good company to pick up right now. Which is why every time we do the market recon, I'm always like, yo, it's down, it's up. But is it? Is it? Based on what? Like right now with Bitcoin, right? Based on what? Is it up or is it down? what time frame are you looking at? Like I keep on telling Empress, bro, it fell to damn near what 31, 30. These numbers, bro, was there recently. If you would have bought then just recently, you wouldn't need to be worrying about these 40s. That's what I'm saying. People start worrying about shit and say it's down, they say it's up, they say it's this, they say it's that. Where? In comparison to what? Right? In comparisons to what? I'm always confused. So like when I ask questions, maybe people are like, yo, bro, trying to be facetious about something. And it's like, no, I'm genuinely confused. Genuinely, not generally. Because it is a general statement about my confusion. Like it's not personal. It's just general. It's like, yo, I'm confused about that whole shit when people say stuff is up. So it's not even because you just said that made me confused. Like I've been confused about it. But I am also genuinely confused too, like genuine leather. Like I'm really confused that you think that something may be up or down. And I don't know where you think is up or down from. So now if you just like, yo, it's down, it was just at 46. Oh yeah, it's a small little pullback. I heard somebody say it's crashing. Yo, it crashed. What are you talking about? Crash where? Like, what is a crash to you? Like, what number was that you seen it crash? You talking about 40? I mean, 69? Those type of numbers? Where you traded it at? Where you got it at? What software you got it on? What exchange you on? What broker you were using? Do you know how to take it off and have it in your wallet and be able to run your numbers by yourself? Do you know how to run your numbers by yourself in a sense without the exchanges? Do you know why they say 1 Bitcoin equal 1 Bitcoin? A lot of these questions become really relative when somebody says something is up or down. Like when you see this right here, you're like, man, they said car prices down 3.8%, but that gotta be good. And it's like, yeah, but over the year they might be up like 15%. I don't really know the exact number right now. I had all this stuff screenshot and stuff, but boom, 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 and I don't have time to just keep on checking my phone, checking the laptop, and checking the screen. So I'm a zero in right now, right? So it's up about 15% over the year. So even though they're showing you it being down, it's still up. The same thing even with food and apparel and gasoline, all these different things. Even them being up right now, they already previously up over the year. Y'all have to keep that in mind. You can't come into things and say things is up or things is down without giving people reason. And I think, and I know people sit back and they say, bro, what you mean? Like, I could just say it. And it's like, no, you can't, bro. You have to be responsible. You have to be respectable. If you say something, you have to back it up with facts. Right? So if you come on here and you saying that, yo, this shit is down, then you let us know that, yo, we had just seen it at 45 just recently. Right? Because I might be like, man, bro, this shit up, bro. I've been waiting on the pullback. I bought at 31. I'm waiting at the pullback. Right? I'm waiting for them to come to 37. Right? Everybody is in a different lane. So if we're not clear with our intentions and we're not clear about where is up and where is down, we're doing the people a disservice. Think about it. If I come in here and I say, yo, look, the used car price is down, bro. It's like, yeah, T, relative to what? Well, shit, relative to month over month is a March. It's like, bro, what you talking about though? Over the year though, you know that we still up? And I'm like, nah, because I maybe I did not know. And that's what I'm telling you, right? You can't be so fixated on what you know. You have to think about the fact that you're trying to impart wisdom. You got to think about what I know, goddamn. You got to be like, hold on, maybe bro don't know that it's still up over the year. So let me know, let them know that, yo, this is a you know, it's not the way you thinking it is, bro. It's not the way you thinking it is, and I could break it down, which is why 2 seconds ago I just had the definition up here, right? So let me hit y'all with one back tap. All right, so I'm gonna keep that inflation boy up there. All right, keep that inflation boy up there, and then also I was just reading this to y'all. The Consumer Price Index is a measure that examines the weighted averages of prices of a basket of consumer goods and services such as transportation, food, and medical care. It is calculated by taking price changes for each item in a predetermined basket of goods and averaging them. Changes in the CPI are used to right here, because this is no, I just froze because I'm trying to find something, because I want to really give y'all like an example. Inflation is the decline of given currency. Because right now, all right, just another thing. So I'm glad I came back up because I wanted to make that clear. Also, why is CPI important, man? Everybody probably asking this because this shit, people been worrying about it all day. The CPI, the problem with CPI determines inflation. So when you start seeing CPI, that's showing you the inflation, and when you start seeing inflation, then you start thinking about recessions, and that's and that's why CPI is anything, because it really means nothing. Right, even relative to what they're saying right now, hitting this fastest pace since 1981 or whatever. Reagan stepped in. They talk about Reaganomics. That's I don't know if anybody ever heard them say that, but that's always something they say, Reaganomics. They say when Reagan stepped in, I think he had to do like a 15% interest rate or some crazy shit he had going on. I'm just telling y'all this shit, bro. I'm gonna break all this shit down though. I need to stop doing that though. All right, cool. How is CPI used? CPI is an economic indicator. It is the most widely used. It is the most widely used measure of inflation, and by proxy, of the effectiveness of the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. The CPI gives the government, businesses, and citizens an idea about price changes in the economy and can act as a guide in order to make informed decisions about the economy. Which is why hearing CPI and then hearing earnings and then hearing the guidance is so important. Because CPI gives you a guide, and then now you need these companies and these different governmental organizations and even the citizens. Everybody needs to have a guide where they start presenting it like this, like, yo, CPI is blah, 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 blah. This is how we plan on going forward, blah, 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 blah. We're going to minimize this and that. We're going to cut this, and we're going to boom, boom. Everything has to, it has to be some type of guidance going forward because the situation has changed. Which is the same, that's the point of the CPI. So it's all about recessions and how can we avoid, it's all really about inflation, but the inflation is about the recession, and the recession may be about the goddamn depression. So you got to be kind of careful with the recession that you don't fall into a depression, right? Because you don't want the Great Depression again, right? You don't even want the regular depression. You don't want no depression, bro. The 2008 crash, it was a crash. But they say that one right there was a little different because that one right there was almost on some asswipe shit to where banks was just loaning money out because they didn't care. They didn't care about trying to get it back. They said a lot of those loans were sold to investors and shit. They were saying maybe the investors knew and they just was like, yo, fuck it, we got guidance. Or maybe they didn't know and some pencil pusher on the side said, yo, this is a good deal. Let me sign you up for some nonsense. However it happened, That's what caused a lot of this stuff. Fake money, inflation, and you can't pay this money back. Right? So that's what we facing right now. So let's get into this little article right here. It say inflation hits fastest pace since 1981 at 8.5% through March. Gasoline weighed heavily in the increases, while prices moderate in several categories. Some economists say the overall rate may have peaked. Okay, like I said, that's based on having little pullbacks in areas like used cars. Used cars is up high, right? So boom, boom, boom. Inflation hits 8.5% in the United States last month, the fastest 12-month pace since 1981, as a surge in gasoline prices tied to Russia's invasion of Ukraine added to sharp increase coming from the collision of strong demand and stubborn pandemic-related supply shortages. See, like Biden wrote this article. It say fuel prices jumped to record levels across much of the nation and grocery costs soared, and Labor Department said Tuesday in its monthly report on the Consumer Price Index. The price pressures have been painful for American households, especially those that have lower incomes and devote a big share of their budget to necessities. Huh? Hold on. Yo, it be funny when they be telling me this stuff. I'm like, hold on. So you know this? You telling me that somewhere in your mind, you know that the people that's most affected is the people that ain't got no money. But it's a real struggle for y'all to give the people with no money money. So much so that when y'all get the people with no money money, y'all got to get the people with money money. I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging nobody. I'm not coming at nobody and trying to take from the rich and give to the poor. But it'll behoove you, though, to look at the situation logically and assess it logically. If you're telling me that the reasons why these niggas getting hit so bad is because the necessities is the things that's really went up. A lot of the frivolous violations kind of went down. Them shits, those assets depressed. Think about it. Who thought it was a good idea to buy Facebook a year ago? You getting smacked. You getting smacked. Right? Who thought it was a good idea to buy Palantir? You getting smacked. Peloton, you getting smacked. Bitcoin at 69K. I'm just saying. Just saying, bro. And I don't want to put Bitcoin in there because Bitcoin is an actual asset with a cap and have purpose, right? But I just wanted to throw. I just wanted to throw everybody in the basket. I wanted to have an index, right? Yeah, y'all know about index, right? So we're gonna focus on an index. So I wanted to throw everybody in the basket, and I'm just showing you that you could have bought some shit, and now you're getting smacked. But necessities is up. I told y'all about D.R. Horton. Matter of fact, you could have bought D.R. Horton, which is why they saying they kind of looking at it a little bit different because they seen this happen once before. Usually, stocks are usually better than real estate. Usually. But they seen a time before where holding real estate and having real estate, the growth on that was way more than if you had a stock. A lot of them Johns is down or whatever. You didn't really make no percentages like that. And I was like, you have to, which is why you need guidance, which is why the CPI come out, which is why you have to see these different numbers in these different categories, because you got to kind of try to figure out how to maneuver around this situation, which is why people go strictly technical, because they say, yo, if something happened previously, let me see that setup and see what happened before it and what transpired after to see kind of what can I change, what's the similarities, what's the difference, what made anything, which is why now they tying this back into 1981. Reaganomics. Right? If you remember, Trump kind of even wanted to be Reagan in a sense, I think, right? And Trump said he running 2024. I think Biden is he's like a softball pitcher. He's like a softball pitcher in the major league. And Trump is like Barry Bonds in his prime. Right? And Biden just setting up the Reaganomics for the brother Trump. And he wanted the brother Trump to come in. And I don't know. I couldn't imagine them wanting Trump to showboat like that. Because I'm telling you, bro, I could only imagine them giving the economy back over to Trump in a shitty fucking position. And Trump being like, cool. I'm glad I got my glasses back. Russia. What Russia been doing? So they've been fucking up the gas prices? Okay, cool. Nobody not paying for gas right now. No, we just going, let me get that barrel. Okay, boom. Gas prices back to $2. Don't worry about that. All right, boom. We got that handled. It says supply shortage is bad. It's a bottleneck. Okay, cool. Okay, boom. They're going through there. Okay, none of them boys can come through the port no more. I'm just telling you, bro. We just need somebody in there, bro, real diplomatic. Not like Biden, bro. I've been seeing Biden just messing up. I seen the White House at a cover for him just recently. They had to come out and say, yo, Biden needs to say that. The transcript is right here. Nigga, transcript right there. You remember the one time they read the transcript? It was like, hey, we don't want the man to say it. So we're going to read the transcript. Bro, you got to start thinking about that shit now. When they start presenting transcript to you. Because you know what a transcript is? Bro, majority of the time, bro, it's an automated transcript, bro. It's somebody just hearing words like, yo, he said this. Just telling you the truth. Telling you the truth, G. Fuel price jumped to record levels across much of the nation. Grocery prices, blah, blah, blah. The price pressure have been painful because of necessities. And this is what I was just talking about. Like, it's weird that they don't care about necessities. But the news was not uniformly bad. A measure that strips out volatile food and fuel price decelerated slightly from February as used car prices swooned. Okay, economists and policymakers took that as a sign that inflation in goods might be starting to cool off after climbing at a breakneck pace for much of the past year. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? It's cooling off, bro. Nothing. I'm just telling y'all, that's why I tell y'all about relativity. What is up? What is down? Where is it at? Cool. In fact, several economists said March may be a high watermark for overall inflation. Price increase could begin abating in the coming month, in part because gasoline prices have declined somewhat. Okay. The national average right now for a gallon was $4.10 on Tuesday, according to AAA shown. I mean, what it was down from a $4.33 peak in March. Some researchers also expect consumers to stop buying so many goods, whether furniture or outdoor equipment, which could begin to take pressure off overtaxed supply chain. Hold on, people shouldn't be buying nonsense. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Because necessities is the problem, people ain't even buying necessities no more. Niggas like, yo, you know what? We might not even need gas if we could just buy, like what if we had all the furniture in the world? Can we just walk on the furniture? Like, what about all the outdoor equipment? I don't know. Maybe people trying to do something else to take some pressure off their damn self. Fuck the supply chain. It's their self. So now I'm looking at it. When you see this 410, this is for regular gas, bro. So if you buy 93, your gas probably still $4.69, $4.50, $5, right? Your price still high. Your price is up. Nevertheless, these numbers are likely to represent something of a peak, said Gregory Dacko, the chief economist at Ernst and Young Strategy Consultancy. EY Parthenon. Still, he said it will be crucial to watch whether price increases, excluding food and fuel, so-called core prices, slow down in the months ahead. A let-up would be welcome news for the White House because inflation has become a major liability for Democrats as midterm elections approach in November. Public confidence in the economy has fallen sharply, and as rapid price increase undermines support for President Biden and his party, they could imperil their control of Congress. All right, imperil, nigga. This man goddamn control. While inflation is up across much of the world, as economies adjust to the pandemic and share supply chain problems, core prices have risen more sharply in the United States than in places like Europe and Japan. Say that has handed Republicans a talking point, especially as price overwhelmed recent wage growth. Average hourly earnings were up 5.6% in March, according to the Labor Department, but adjusted for inflation, average pay was down 2.7%. Hold on. Did these people write this article after hearing my whole spiel about up and down and relativity? Yeah, y'all is bugging, bro. Do y'all know about relativity? Do y'all know how relative it is to be relative? Bro. Look. It say the average hourly earnings is up 5.6% in March. Yo, you making more, my guy. But then they saying, but adjusted for inflation, you down 2.7 still? Americans' paycheck are worth less and less each month, Senator Patrick J. Toomey, Republican of Pennsylvania, wrote on Twitter after that report. Look, Patrick Toomey ain't playing. Toomey want people to know. Toomey published the report by his goddamn self, nigga. Toomey heard me talking about this whole relative situation. He was like, yo, I don't think they know that shit, T. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let them know that they making more money. But I'm going to tell them that inflation's fucking them up, so they really down still. Golden. Keep on doing that shit, brother. Understand inflation in the U.S. Inflation 101. What is inflation? Why is it? Hold on, what is this? Hold on, bro. Y'all tripping, bro. The article done, bro. I'm pretty sure, bro. This is all word salad. Let me see. But even if inflation slows slightly, it is likely to spend 2022 running far above the Fed's goal, which it defines as 2% on average using a related but more delayed price index. The crucial question is how much and how quickly prices will come down, and the recent development ramp up the risk that uncomfortably rapid inflation could linger. Service costs, including rent and other housing expenses, are increasing more rapidly. Those measures move slowly and are likely to be a major factor determined by the course of inflation. All right, so this is almost a lag right here too. Yeah, these the rent and housing prices is lagged. Yeah, so the current price hasn't even caught up to what is really priced in to be. It's weird. It's fucking weird, bro. You gotta watch these folks, man. Niggas says inflation bad. Depends on the circumstance. Fast price increase spell trouble, but moderate price gains can lead to higher wages and job growth. Yeah, inflation is not terrible. They say some places like Japan. Japan don't really be having no growth like that because of these reasons right here. They John just like it's just too balance. It don't really do nothing. So I can see what they're talking about right there as far as inflation. Inflation has some purposes for sure. But yeah, that's the conclusion of that article right there, because I ain't gonna jump into nothing else more from this boy. That supply chain. I ain't jumping into nothing else from that boy. But yeah, I definitely wanted y'all to motherfucking hear. Damn, I told myself stop doing that. I definitely wanted y'all to hear that. Because, like I said, the CPI situation is being spoken about and it's being held at this level. Right now, BTC is pushing a little bit. Because remember, the goal is to keep on holding higher highs. There's going to be pullbacks, but like right now, right, we just push. Let me zoom. Last time we went to 358. Yeah. So we're going to higher lows. And now we technically have to pass 42.76. But now we're pulling back hard. So let me go check out what's going on. And that's a steep pullback too. So that's not supposed to happen. There's something going on. Yeah, we got to go retest that 276. If we can retest that 276, then we back in good standings with the Most High. Back in good standings with the Most High. If we can get a 276 on there. Man, I cannot see, bro. It's like I'm a blind bat. Yo, peep Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. E-boys tripping. Hey, Biden homeboys out here.
Just announcing it's testing several new tools in the metaverse and how people can purchase digital goods, services, and experiences. And this may come at a hefty cost to creators as well. For more on this, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's own Dan Howley. Dan, what can you tell us?
Yeah, basically what Meta is doing here, and Mark Zuckerberg announced this late on Monday afternoon, is they're going to begin testing. This is just testing the ability for creators in its Horizon Worlds software to begin selling some things along the lines of in-app products. So think, perhaps some kind of avatar shoe, or well, since you don't really have legs in Meta World, so I guess shirts, sunglasses, things along those lines, branded kind of stylized things that you would have your avatar wear, or even events in the worlds that you may want to be able to visit. So, for instance, maybe a virtual concert. We saw that the Foo Fighters had a concert that was offered for free after the Super Bowl through Meta's Horizon World. And so maybe we could see some things along those lines. I think one of the other things that's interesting here is how we're already seeing other companies take advantage of this. For instance, Roblox allows developers and companies to offer things for sale through its own platform, and then that trickles down to both Roblox as well as the creators themselves. Decentraland, that's also a place where we're seeing certain sales, although that really seems to be more to do with the real estate than actual goods. So we could start to see potentially, this pickup with Meta, and this really just builds into the idea that trying to create this own virtual world that they want to have control of, but also build off the idea that creators will help create this world even more so than just Facebook could possibly, or Meta could possibly do on its own. So this, again, is just at the early phases, but expect this to really kind of pick up steam as Meta begins to build this out even more so.
All right, we're taking a look at the metaverse stocks here, all down on the day, and what's a largely down day on the markets. Our own Dan Howley, thanks so much for breaking all of that down on the Meta platforms front and the broader metaverse. We appreciate it.
Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live, everyone. A painful punch in the gut is how our next guest described this headline inflation number that came out at 8.5%. So let's get right to it with Greg Darko, EY Parthenon's chief economist. So as we look at this headline number, then break down the main culprits and some of the sectors that are also cooling off as we look at what's within these numbers.
That's right. I think it's important to look at the different components of the latest inflation print. We have, on the one hand, international factors related to the war in Ukraine, to the renewed lockdowns in China that are putting additional upward pressure on the energy front and on the supply front, which we know are two key culprits of the higher inflation that we've seen in recent months. But there's also signs that there was stronger activity on the services side, with leisure and hospitality sectors and prices for these sectors rising faster. But we also saw some declines in used car prices, which we know was a key driver of inflation up until now. So there's really a rotation in the spending mix and in the price mix that is influencing inflation and will likely continue to influence inflation in the coming months.
Expectation from the FOMC is that inflation is still going to begin to come down during the second half of this year. When in the second half of this year would you forecast inflation starting to subside?
Well, I think we're not too far from a peak. I think it's always difficult to call a peak in inflation, especially in the given context that we have today on the international front. But I think we're not too far from a peak. I would expect inflation to gradually cool over the second half of the year. But I think from a Fed perspective, gone is the perspective that this passive moderation in inflation from cooler demand, from a rotation in the spending mix, and from stronger supply is going to ease inflation on its own. The Fed really wants to take control of the inflation narrative. It wants to tighten monetary policy, bring the Fed funds rate closer to a neutral stance, and normalize the size of its balance sheet in an effort to cool demand and to tighten financial conditions to be able to bring inflation back down under control. So there's going to be that passive element, but also, and very importantly, that active Fed element to try to regain control over inflation.
And you expect 250 basis point rate hikes the next two meetings. But on that note that you just mentioned, the balance sheet reduction, what are your expectations there, and how key is that going to be in the Fed getting down this number and somehow avoiding a recession?
Well, I think that's a very delicate balancing act from a Fed's perspective. The Fed is bringing out its full arsenal in terms of combating inflation, which it sees as a key threat to the longevity of this economic expansion. So it will want to tighten monetary policy fairly rapidly. Doing so will involve faster rate hikes, and we do expect to see back-to-back 50 basis point increases in the Fed funds rate over the next two FOMC meetings. But the balance sheet normalization process is going to be a key part of the Fed's normalization program. And the idea there is to try to tighten financial conditions, to try to essentially reduce economic momentum via that channel as well as the credit channel. And by pushing on both levers, trying to exert a certain form of policy brake to cool inflation on top of the passive cooling that I just mentioned.
And keeping an eye on what we're seeing with mortgage rates as a result, making it even harder for a lot of home buyers to get out of renting. But for renters who are hoping for some reprieve as wages still aren't keeping pace with inflation, break down your expectations for the rent and real estate markets.
Well, I think what we're seeing on the real estate front is a couple of developments that are going to be quite interesting. There's certainly going to be still some pass-through from higher housing prices into the CPI components for rents and owner equivalent rents. So we're going to see some upward pressure on that front. But as you stated correctly, the higher cost of credit with mortgage rates rising rapidly will put a damper on housing activity. And I would expect that as we look into the very latter part of 2022 and into 2023, we're going to see cooler housing activity, which will put likely downward pressure on prices going forward. So there's going to be a two-motion step here in terms of the real estate activity. Initially, still some upward momentum through the end of the year on the housing price front, but I would expect that as we look into 2023, the cooler activity from the latter part of 2022 will weigh on prices over the course of next year.
Greg, ahead of the summer travel season, where we know that there's going to be a ton of demand to get back on the roads, the president, of course, in the White House announcing today the EPA administrator planning to allow E15 gasoline. To the extent that you've been able to really parse through the details of this, what effect, net effect, do you believe that it will have in curbing some of the higher costs for fuel that Americans have been seeing right now at the pump?
Well, I think the rise in gasoline prices is certainly a key element driving up inflation. We know that gasoline prices are up about 50% relative to last year. Just in this past month alone, the 1.2% increase in the headline CPI index came, nearly 2/3 of that came from higher gasoline prices. So certainly an area of concern. I have my reservations as to whether the plan that was suggested by the administration.
Right, and that's how they get the. Where I was just telling you that it's month over month. What I was explaining to you about the CPI. So that's why you would see 3% drop, 3.5% drop because it's coming down, but year over year it's still up over such and such percentage. As you can see, it was 286 a year ago. This is all the price for regular gas, but it was 286 a year ago.
Administration will work to really significantly curb gasoline prices. But what will likely weigh down on gasoline prices is the fact that crude oil prices have come back down from their recent highs in March. That will take some time to filter through the gasoline prices, but I think we should not be expecting some further significant increases in gasoline prices, and that in itself will act as some form of relief for households across the US.
Some good news for the American consumer. Greg Dacco, EY Parthenon Chief Economist. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
In 1986, Gary bought his dream home in Pleasanton, a 4-bedroom house with a pool and a view of the mountains.
They looked out.
Yeah, so I wanted to run that down real fast. Now we're about to jump into this little article right here. Cause like I said, it was still on the CPI. Still trying to figure out what's going on with these numbers. Still trying to figure out if these numbers super important to the investment going forward. Because even the market today kind of did some weird responding to where stuff was down, stuff was up. Right, so the market responded to the news. If the market did the market overreact? Are they done reacting? Right. What you feel me? What's the outlook moving forward? So let's just get some more information on the CPI situation. We had Chicago Fed chief, labor market vibrant as inflation remains persistent. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all heard this, but they've been saying this all year. This is what they keep on coming back to. They keep on telling you about the unemployment numbers and blah, 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 blah. We getting people working, da, da, da. Cool. Can't be mad at getting people working. People should be back working, making some money, man. Nobody's mad about that. What? Man, I thought I was about to go into a whole article for y'all. I'm not subscribing. Not me. Not me. I'm sorry, folks. This is not my article that I'm reading right now. I ain't subscribing. I gotta switch it up on y'all. And this one here might be the same thing. Might be the same thing. Look. I reached my free trial. Look at me. Oh, I didn't reach my free trial. I didn't even read the article yet. This is my second article that did this to me. But you see this headline right here? Am I able to copy this shit? We gotta be seeing this shit pink up. Yeah. COVID pill birth defect risk sinks pharma stock by most in decade. Merck's rival medicine also have been linked to fetal harm. Let me take this this headline here. See if I can get some information on it for y'all. This name of the company though, Shinogi and Co. And they saying Merck John Doe is also this Shinogi and Co. John Doe. I don't know what else Shinogi and Co. had made. Let me do it like this real quick, folks. Stop sharing my screen really fast. What number we had it says? 4276.
I lack if you ain't have to hustle. Wasn't brought up in the struggle, never suffer. A better 9 to 5 job be so much better for you. Never mind, catch a charge, make a bond, get a lawyer. Man, get a record, now it's hard to get employed. You been serving an informant, they got recordings. Lord knows that money important, but you got choices. I'm just saying, if you got kids, you sure don't want the streets to raise them. A lot of niggas locked up sitting waiting, cause they ain't had no patience. But I ain't had no faith in nothing other than coke and H. Riding dirty with open cases. All my partners on probation. Talk to God in San Diego. He said it's your last chance around. Pay attention. Time to text me. J-Lo Garrett. Hot chicken 4th of July. After it was all over, Sex pancake.
This is exactly what I was just telling y'all about right now. I just ran this article down and started it, but is this it though? This is it, but this ain't it. Nah, this ain't it. I want the other one. The other one had a cool name in that. Man, this shit is fucking in Afghanistan for me, bro. I'm not even gonna flex, but this shit like it's in Afghanistan, bro. Yeah, shit straining my little eyeballs. Gotta switch my settings up. Give me 1 second.
And so it was an interesting way to combine analysis and a subject of study that was always challenging and always changing. So I think that's what's interesting about it. It's also a place where your opinions are you get your grades pretty instantaneously. I should be clear though, and I know your podcast is really a trading podcast. I got to be honest, even though I am probably considered one of the experts, certainly in terms of picking the minds of traders and trading advice, and I do think that what I've written in terms of trading advice is very sound stuff, and I've had so many people tell me it's helped them that I kind of believe that it's true. But having said that, I myself do not really consider myself a trader. I'm not particularly talented as a trader. I don't particularly have any grand emotion or passion for trading itself. I do it, sometimes I don't. It's on and off thing. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I don't particularly like the emotionalism of trading, which is one of the reasons I don't do it all the time. And also, it's a time eater. If you're trading, then it keeps you from doing other things. And so, for time reasons, many times I don't trade. But for large parts of my adult life, I have traded. but it's never been a main thing. I've never considered myself a great trader. I can basically the most I'll say about myself is I'm net profitable, but I don't consider myself a particularly good trader. Although that has nothing to do with the stuff I write about, which comes from traders who are exceptional and whose advice I think is very sound.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about some of the books you've authored and some of the things you've learned and been able to extract from the minds of these insanely successful traders. So, I mean, first of all, what inspired you, or where did the idea come from to write your very first book, A Complete Guide to the Futures Markets? I mean, what was it about?
Oh, it's very good. You're one of the rare interviewers that finishes that question with a complete guide to the futures markets. Usually the question is finished with Market Wizards, and I have to backstep and say, that really wasn't my first book. So the complete guide to the futures markets, it's going to sound egotistical when I say this, but when I got into the futures research, I kind of was impressed with the lack of quality stuff out there. And I didn't particularly think that I was great, but I thought that I could do better than anything that was out there. So I didn't find what I considered a really good book on the futures markets. And I thought that I could write a better one. And circumstances worked out that I was leaving a job and I would have had no problem going and just finding another job. But I decided, I've wanted to write this book. Why not take the time now? So I took a sabbatical. And so what I was trying to write was a comprehensive text on futures, sort of the definitive text on futures, at least for that time. And it was a serious work. So, I mean, it runs over 700 pages. It covers all sorts of stuff in fundamental analysis. It covers statistical stuff. It covers all sorts of classical chart analysis. It covers technical indicators. It covers trading systems, testing trading systems, trading. It's pretty comprehensive. So that's the book. And I did that again pre-PC days, pre-computer. I was literally, for those who do stats, you can appreciate this maybe, but I had to resort to doing multiple regressions using a calculator, which is just a great time waster. But it would have been a lot easier to do the book in modern times than it was when I did it. And it was only because I was so enormously focused at that time that I was able to even do it in a year. I also had to hand do the charts, everything. There was no Excel. There was no, or maybe I don't know if there was Excel or Word or any of those things existed, but this is 83, 84. If it existed, I didn't know about it, and I didn't have a PC, and I guess PCs were still probably in their infancy at that point. So in any case, that was a book that required manual labor. And that was the first book that I did. Now, having done that, I really didn't have a great eagerness to do another book quickly, but I did along the way, as I was involved in trading, and I knew some great traders like Michael Marcus and some other people. I was at that Commodities Corp actually for a year. I knew Bruce Covener and I knew some other people who were great traders. I thought, it would be an interesting book to write, going to interview like these great traders and find out what they do and what do they do that's different and why do they excel where so many fail. But I had a full-time job as a director, more than full-time job as a director of futures research, and I wasn't eager to sort of work nights and weekends additionally on a book. So I didn't do anything for a couple of years, even though I had the idea. And then one day I got invited by a publisher to have lunch, and they said, basically the pitch was, we think your Complete Guide's a great book. We'd like you to, we have this idea for a whole series of analytical books. We want to do one on each market, and we need an editor-in-chief, and we want you to head up the project. And sort of having done one of those very, very in-depth analytical books, which, by the way, you only do because you're trying to prove something. You're trying to prove that you can do a really good book, or just for ego almost, or for self-satisfaction. or to demonstrate or to just achieve putting out a really good book. But you certainly don't care, or you're certainly not focused on selling because, and I say this only semi-facetiously, it really is true as well, that the amount of books you sell are inversely proportional to the number of equations you put in a book. And by virtue, and I knew I'd put more equations than I should put into that book if I wanted to sell a lot of copies. So maximizing sales was never my goal on the complete guide. It was basically to do the best book I could that was serious and analytical and could be read by a serious layman. I think it doesn't require really a college degree in math or science necessarily to understand, but you have to be serious. That I only wanted to do once, and the last thing I wanted to do was to do it again. So I said, I'm not really interested in that project, but, because I don't want to do a bunch of books that sell very few copies and require a lot of in-depth work. So I said, I have this idea, which is I viewed more as a mass audience book and more of a book that, could reach, just a broader audience and be more entertaining to read and so forth. And I told them about the Market Wizard concept, and they really liked it. So I wasn't intending to do the book, but they came back with an offer, and sort of that was the catalyst. And that's how Market Wizards got written the first time.
Okay, that's really interesting. It's good to sort of know where the idea for that book came from. And I'd like to quote the opening line from the new Market Wizards, which is the second one in the series, where you said, "The markets are not random." And you made it very clear that this is a statement that you truly believe. But to what extent are the markets not random?
Well, to the extent that they're not random in a couple of ways. And this goes into the whole controversy, which has been going on for decades, between those who believe in the efficient market hypothesis and those who don't. The latter being, at least in serious academia, being behavioral economists. But of course, originally and now as well, the whole sorts of people in the trading community. Now, I felt from the beginning that concept was wrong for many reasons, but two big conceptual reasons. One is I just knew too many people who had obvious trading skill. And it wasn't just they were lucky, they just did too many trades for too long and had results that were too lopsided to be explained in a probabilistic sense that, if you have enough traders, some will get those results. No, I don't care how many, you can have 10 billion traders, you're not going to get those results, So clearly something is going on here where people are getting types of track records that from a simple probability calculation would be impossible if the markets were random. And that's one of the arguments I always have against the efficient market hypothesis. The second thing is, and this big, and both of these are big areas and there's kind of sub parts to them, but the second big concept of why I think people are wrong when they believe the markets are efficient is because prices, very often there's circumstances where clearly the market price is not right. I mean, there's just tons of examples where you can show that to be the case, and there's by no stretch of the imagination can you say that the market price is right. So I'll give you. In fact, I wrote a book. My next to last book, and it was a non-market wizard book called Market Sense and Nonsense. And in Market Sense and Nonsense, which I go through a whole bunch of. Each chapter deals with a different set of, different subject of misconceptions. One long chapter, probably the longest chapter in the book is debunking the efficient market hypothesis. And one of the things I do in there is I give a number of examples of just come on, in no sane world could this happen if the markets were efficient. And there's a lot of examples. So let's just go, let me take one. I mean, there's so many. So let's say take something like Countrywide. Countrywide, if you had to pick a company that was the worst of the worst, I mean, I don't know who I would pick, in this whole 2008 financial meltdown, and companies that participated, they, in my mind, they should, heads of these companies should have ended up in jail, but they walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars, unfortunately. But no one was worse than Countrywide. And Countrywide literally approved everything. You could not, their people were instructed to give mortgages. If they turned down a mortgage for any reason, like just because a person didn't have a job or income or anything else and was asking for a large amount of money, they would be told to find a way to do it. And that was because Countrywide then sold off they didn't have to keep it. They didn't have to worry about people repaying. They sold it off to Wall Street, who didn't care because they repackaged them and sold them off to investors who didn't know any better. Or I should say, not who didn't know any better, who were relying on the rating agencies, who were either themselves incredibly dumb or compromised and looked the other way and then therefore are guilty in that sense. But they can only plead either stupidity or malfeasance. There's really no other way of explaining it. But in any case, going back to the origin type of company, the ones who produced these really, truly terrible mortgages that just had a very, very poor chance of being repaid, and did so knowingly and had a corporate culture where negligence was encouraged. Nobody, I think, could be worse than Countrywide. And that now, I just try to get people a sense of how bad this company was. So now a company like Countrywide was depending totally on this housing bubble going on. Because as long as the housing bubble goes on, prices are going up, and no matter how incapable people are of paying back a mortgage that you give the mortgage to, as long as as housing prices go up more than they have to pay back, it kind of sort of self-sustains. Yet if that stops, a company like Countrywide is going to be in a whole bunch of trouble, right? Not only did it stop, but you can look at something like delinquencies. And delinquencies were sort of, during the housing bubble, were very low at about 5%. And then they start going up, and they go up and they go up, and they went from 5% to 10%. So mortgage delinquencies actually doubled. Now, this should have been like, mortgage delinquencies going up is the type of thing that should be a screaming cautionary note for Countrywide being subject to collapse. And if you look at the chart, and this is why I say, if you tell me the market price is right, you got to be just blind. And I'm just mentioning, I'm going through detail in one example, but there's tons of cases like this. So what did Countrywide stock do? As delinquencies went double from 5 to 10%, it actually went up to a new record high. The record high occurred after delinquencies had doubled, and about a month after the record high, the stock collapsed. It didn't stop collapsing until it went out, until the company went out of business. So how could you can't explain that by the market price being right? No, what was going on was there was a bubble. People were just buying. People were buying without real insight, and there was enough dumb money that was willing to go into the stock because it was making new highs, even though it was completely rotten to the core, and the thing that was vulnerable was already blasted out because these are reported statistics. Mortgage delinquencies are reported data. So it's no big surprise. And so the collapse of the stock occurred about a year and a half after it should have, and it occurred right after it made a new high. So that's one kind of example. So my point here is that market prices are not always right. And if market prices can be dead wrong, and you can show many examples where they are, then the idea that underlies the efficient market hypothesis that market prices are always right and all new information is immediately discounted doesn't hold water, because if market prices are not right, the whole theory falls apart. The one place the efficient market hypothesis is correct, and the reason why there's an illusion that it's correct, is because one of the conclusions that come out of the efficient market hypothesis is that the markets would be very difficult to beat. And that is true. The markets are indeed very difficult to beat, but not because the markets are efficient. They're very difficult to beat because what moves markets are both fundamentals and human emotion. And human emotion is very difficult to gauge. I mean, how far does a bubble go? When does the bubble break? These things are very hard to predict and very hard to trade. So it's not because the markets are efficient that the markets are difficult to beat. It's because there's such a big influence of human emotion that can't really be programmed to exist precisely, and it's very difficult to gauge. And so there's this conclusion by people who look at the market and say, oh, the mutual fund managers always, usually lose to the indexes, and markets are really difficult to beat. Therefore, the market are efficient. Well, no, that's not why they're efficient. Yes, markets are difficult to beat, but that does not mean they're efficient. In fact, one of the things I put into Market Sense and Nonsense was that line of thinking actually, it violates a basic rule of logic. So there's a rule of logic that says the converse of a true statement is not necessarily true. So let me explain that with a simple analogy. A true statement is all polar bears are white mammals. That's a true statement. All polar bears are white mammals. However, flip it around, all white mammals are not polar bears. The converse is not true. Like you could have a snowshoe hare. So the thinking that because something is true, if A is true, then B is true, then going to say that B is true, therefore A is true, that's a flaw in logic. And it's done all the time by many people who are arguing the efficient market hypothesis. It's just a straight out flaw in logic. And so what they're saying is, if the markets are efficient, then the markets will be difficult to beat, and then give you all these examples of how the markets are difficult to beat, which I totally agree. Yes, the markets are extremely difficult to beat. And then they jump from that back to the markets are efficient. It's a flaw in logic. And I can go on, but I think I've killed it. Oh, there's one, I got.
Right, and I felt like a lot of that was very important for us to hear, right? Because I'm always going down these paths and trying to explain the importance of the market and understanding why things happen, and understanding that you have to see things a little different than everybody else. Because, and I was just saying, even real estate, right, to look at market, it's a lagging indicator, because by the time it really hit and it really shows itself, it's too late, right? So what he was just explaining as far as the market, if it was so efficient, the price for such and such should have been down, but instead it went up. It went up, right? So he was just saying you can't calculate human emotion. So you just got to kind of look at the feel for what it is, right? Kind of get your probabilities as great as possible, but you have to understand that human emotion. You don't know how far things go or how short it goes. It might not go nowhere. Pick it. You're like, damn, man, I thought it was going all the way down. But you don't know if it's going all the way down, right? So you just want to trust nothing, right? Trust nothing. Verify everything. Every thought you come up with, every little play you come up with in your head, try to do some type of technicality on it to try to see what's going up, what's coming down, how long should you possibly be in it if it do come down, all these different things. But with a lot of that being said, that's where I'm going to end this, because, I try to also I want to do the live trading. I want to start doing these a little shorter, because I want to also do the live trading too. So I'm not going to beat the not going to beat the drum too long. But we got to get up out of here, man. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for supporting the show. It's a Taco Tuesday where you talk about currency only. Try to get to the bag. I always try to, I always come in here and I always explain to y'all that I want to do more so the knowledge. So that's why I come in here. I give y'all a lot of these games, a lot of this insight, a lot of these terms, how to look at it, what's the importance of it, does it really mean anything to you if you long term, all these different little things. So that's the point of this show, right? I want us to be fully educated on this whole thing, the whole currency situation, not just the stock market, not just the crypto market, right? Not just the bond market, right? Because CPI is a lot of bonds. So just the whole nine right? Everything encompassed in the situation. But with that being said, bro, thank y'all for coming through and supporting the Black privilege situation. Thank you for continuously liking the videos and make sure you subscribe to the videos. Hey, drop a comment in the comment section. You know what I mean? Let's have a discussion. Anything that was interesting to you, or any plays you may see, anything you may think about the CPI, that you may have like some insight on the CPI situation, and you know, just maybe you may have some insight on what happened in 1981, and you're like, yo, but in 83 that we did this and this. Right? Please drop it in the comment section, and like I said, thank you all for the support, like always.